After my time spent with Reynatis, I think I can confidently say it's a good game. However, I don't think anyone would bat an eye at me saying that this is the worst good game I've played in a very long time. Let me ramble for a bit.
目覚めた時、私は魔法使いになっていた。
I do want to say much love to NIS America for sending me this game, and I hope they will continue to like me after everything I have to say in this video. Well, for all intents and purposes, this isn't a slander Reynatis video. I feel like there's enough reviewers on YouTube right now talking and doing the exact same thing, but I actually feel like I have more positives to say about the game than negative. Though I do feel like the negatives could basically hurt the entire experience for some. So I'd rather just make it known that way if anybody watches the video and wants to buy the game after seeing this video, you know what you're getting yourself into when you do so. So the first things first, I want to talk about all the things that I did really enjoy about the game. The biggest thing I can say I enjoyed about this game is the character interaction. Now, usually in these narratively driven games, there are two aspects that mean the most to me when it comes to a narrative. The story has to be super engaging, interesting, and something enough to keep me wanting to see what happens next. Or the characters have to be so likable, or the scenarios they get themselves in have to be so charming that I'm okay with the story not being out of this world. And I do think Reynatis falls in the latter. I don't necessarily feel that all of the characters are innately unique. I've honestly seen all of these characters many times before, but that's the thing. I don't necessarily need characters unique that I've never seen before. I just need the scenarios with them to be good. And maybe that's just a me thing, and maybe people will inherently disagree with me, but I genuinely just need good character interaction, and that's enough to make me like the characters. Because at the end of the day, if I like a character, I'll care what they go through. And I feel this game does this well. The character interactions are super endearing in this game. So there are two main characters in this game. Marin, who essentially just wants to be the strongest wizard in this world because strength equals freedom in this world. And then we have Sari, who is basically a magic policewoman. So in order to talk about the characters, I do have to talk about the story a little bit, but don't worry, I won't be spoiling. This is basically a Netflix description. So in this world, we're in modern day Shibuya. And in this world, we've started to have beings come into existence known as wizards. Now, wizards can come into being in multiple different ways, but the way that pertains to our characters is that most of them have gone through life or death experiences, which kind of triggered this transformation in them and allowed them to have magic. Now, wizards are not exactly super welcome in this world unless they are part of the magic police, which Sari, our other protagonist, just happens to be, while Marin is not. That kind of puts these two at odds from time to time because they will cross paths and even fight, and I think that's really cool, having your dual protagonists actually battle it out, because again, you fight each other 1v3 here. That's kind of crazy. But okay, outside of that, I do think they're not out of this world. These are scenarios I've seen before. But what makes it really cool is the character interactions between their teams, because each protagonist gets a little team of friends they get to travel and do battle with and stuff. Marin's team, I think I enjoy more. Maybe it's because they're not cops and they're like less stiff because it's all military-esque over there. But Marin's team was a lot more chill, full of young people and stuff, just kind of doing their thing. What I like a lot is that this game has like a texting mechanic where you'll actually see the group chats and stuff of the main characters, and it's always freaking gold, man. So many of the jokes, because Marin's more of a dry-esque character. If you've ever seen like chapter 1 of The World Ends With You, that's basically what he is. He's basically the beginning of the game Neku. And what makes it cool is that even though I wouldn't say it's as bad as beginning of the game Neku, I mean, he wasn't that mean or anything. He's a what a drag kind of character. The thing is, he's one of those kind of characters that's put around all these jolly characters who keep putting him in funny scenarios. I love seeing dry characters who just kind of want to be edgy but can't because of everybody around them. It's gold, man. The text conversations, they'll be like, so you think he has a girlfriend or anything like that? And the boss will chime in, oh no, he doesn't have anyone like that. And then he's like, hey, don't assume. I don't though. You know, it's just I just love that kind of thing, man. These kind of conversations, and there's so many of them, man. Like you'll be scrolling through the chat logs. There's so many of them, and I really feel they endear me to the characters way more than the story ever hoped it could. And the same thing could be said of Sari's as well, because they'll be sitting through a lecture from their superior, who I might add is the ugliest NPC I have seen in the last 10 years. And then the lecture will be over and they'll just talk about they want to punch this guy in the face. Like, why is he such a jerk? You know, and then they'll try to be professional. Like, come on, you can't say stuff like that. Even though I agree, you know, it's just the little things like that. I just love it. They're such goofballs. It feels like a bunch of 20 somethings in a group chat. And as a 20 something in a bunch of group chats, I get the vibe a lot. It felt so relatable and understandable. I just genuinely felt that some of my favorite parts of the game was freaking going into that menu and checking out the freaking text messages, man. It felt like real life, constantly checking my phone to see the group chats, man. I loved it so much. It's so freaking good. The next big good thing I wanted to say about this game is that I think Shibuya is super accurate to real life. I actually had the pleasure of going to Japan twice last year, and I spent multiple days in Shibuya. And man, it is such a, well, one, really busy place to be, and while that might not be represented too great, I'm sure they can only have so many NPCs on screen. The actual like placement of the buildings, the advertisements that are there, like seeing this little building here, there's a little shop right there, that corner leads to this. It's all so accurate to real life, man. Going to Dokenzaka and seeing that it's just like how it is in real life, so freaking cool. I can genuinely say that whatever else to say about this game, this is the most accurate depiction of Shibuya I have seen in any game. Let me know if there's another one. I've played The World Ends With You, I've played Neo The World Ends With You, and even they do not get the actual placements of buildings and advertisements and stuff nearly as well. I don't think those games are trying to do that, but still, I haven't seen it depicted this good. Genuinely, bravo, genuinely. It's so great. And what makes it really cool to just be back in the Booyah and just be exploring and stuff is the music by Yoko Shimomura. Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts lady. Yeah, I mean, the Mario and Luigi lady too. But if you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts, that name should ring some bells. The woman who's known for all her wonderful genre-defining music from Kingdom Hearts does so much great work here. I can go and say that is one of the best things about this game. Every single track is great. Every single one. There's not a single one I didn't think was a banger. They're all going on the playlist when this game comes out. Please bring it to Spotify. Man, it's just so good. But again, outside of Yoko, outside of the text messages, outside of the character interactions and stuff like that, I think it is time we start kind of getting into the downsides here. Now, again, despite what I've said about the writing and stuff or the character interactions, again, this is Kazushika Nojima, the guy who wrote Final Fantasy VII and Remake and Rebirth and stuff doing this game. And despite how great I feel it is for the character interactions, I don't think the story was really grabbing me like that, which is weird because based off concept alone, I thought that would be enough for me, but it kind of just wasn't. At the current moment, I just feel like the story, it's good. You know, it's definitely not something I will be thinking about, and it's nowhere near anything I would write home about. But it's passable and it's good. I am really excited to see where the game will go from here. But after all my hours with the game, I don't think it should take 10 plus hours for you to start getting intrigued by a story. Even if it takes that long for stories to really pick up, I feel like they should at least intrigue you early on. And I don't think this game does that very well. I will say that despite the game looking kind of ugly when it comes to character models, I think the FMVs actually look wonderful. I think it just makes me wonder that, dude, if this game actually had a bigger budget, or say instead of just being like published by like NIS America or something, imagine if it was developed by someone like Square Enix. That would have been crazy. It would have been way higher budget and stuff, and it would have probably looked at all times like how the FMVs look. I just think that probably would have been good. That's definitely what the FMVs leave me feeling the most. What if, man? It leaves me imagining what it could look like, and that's a little sad. I'm not going to harp on the graphics too much, mostly just because, again, it's not an indie game, but it's definitely not AAA. It's not something I think needs to be ragged on too much. You can see it from the beginning. Googling some gameplay will show you what this game looks like. I'm not too big of a fan of I want to say I'm a fan of the art style, but I don't think even the character models assist the art style well. I actually think the environments aren't bad. The environments themselves actually remind me of the glory days of the PS2. If this was a PS2 game, I think this was one of the best looking PS2 games. And then I'd see the models and then completely think that, because I genuinely think that Kingdom Hearts 2 in 2006 has better character models than this game. And you can say, again, the budget thing, but again, Kingdom Hearts 2 came out over 20 years ago at this point. So there's not too much argument I feel can be made at that point. Now, there is an elephant in the room here, and that is the combat of this game. And it's by far what you will hear about the most on YouTube if you go and watch any other reviews or see the game online and hear people talking about it in forums and stuff. But in order to talk about the gameplay, I do want to talk about the setup for battle. And this game actually has a mechanic called Wizards, which, if you've played The World Ends With You, they're pins. That's what they are. There are 2 pins you can have equipped, or wizards, in this game, and they are skill slots. As long as you hit their coordinated button in combat, you will do whatever move it is. What's cool is that they're technically all shared. So unlike, say, in The World Ends With You, say if this person has this skill equipped, you can't use it. Multiple people can use the same skill, and that's pretty cool. I do appreciate that, because sometimes for a certain character, I just don't like a move on them. Like, it's not that the move is bad, I just don't think it works with how I want to play this character. And the game gives me the freedom to use somebody else's move on them. And as far as I'm aware, there's no real downside to it. I assume that there could be some kind of difference in the sense to where this attack is more of a magic based attack, and my magic power might just be worse on this character. So I might not be getting the most out of this move on this character, but it still lets me do it, and I appreciate that freedom. There is a wizard I did want to talk about though. You can upgrade all of these wizards to let them do more damage and stuff as well, but there is one kind of wizard you cannot upgrade, and as far as I'm aware, I don't think these specific ones will ever be able to, no matter how far you get into the game. So again, like I said, I was given early access to this game about a week or so ago, and the thing is, I actually got some DLC with this game. And one of the DLC items that I got after just checking and wanted to find out what I got after seeing all the potions and stuff, I see that I have a pin or a wizard called Radiance. It is, let me read you the description. Let me read you this. It says, wizard that triggers the ultimate delusion, makes all evasion automatic. Now, there's a lot I have to say about this, but because I haven't talked about the combat yet, we'll be back to this. So I need to talk about how the combat in this game works. This is an action RPG. If you played something like Kingdom Hearts, if you played something like Neo The World Ends With You, you'll know how this game kind of plays. You press the attack button, you attack. However, this game is mixed up into 2 different styles. You have your liberated form and your suppressed state. That they're basically both your attack stance and defense stat accordingly. So that's what these 2 are. But how this works is kind of baffling to me. In your attack stance, the liberated state, that is where you're able to attack. But in the suppressed state, your defense state, you cannot attack at all. And you cannot really dodge or avoid attacks in the attack state. Now, yes, you can dodge roll in the attack state, but it's no different than just doing a dash or a run of some kind, because there's no invincibility frames on it. If it comes in contact with your character, if an attack comes in contact with your character while in the attack state, you will get hit. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you dodge, nothing. If it comes into contact with you while in this state, you will get hit. It doesn't matter if you physically dodge, because yeah, they still give you a dodge button in the attack state that just does not dodge. In the defense state, however, you cannot attack at all. So it doesn't matter. As soon as you try to attack, you will switch states, meaning that you need to be very careful with doing this. The whole goal of this game is to be swapping back and forth between liberation and suppression at all times. Go in for attacks as much as you can, don't overextend, and then as soon as you believe you're going to attack, you switch to the suppress state and begin the mini game. Yes, I said the mini game. So let's back up a bit. So yes, there is a mini game that happens when you attempt to dodge something, but what this game does is that there's actually not just a dodge mechanic. It's specifically called the dodge and absorb mechanic. So what this game tells you is that because all of the characters are wizards in this game, they don't actually need to preemptively dodge anything. They're wizards, they got powers, bro. Which is a very just weird way to put it. Like, if I'm a wizard, I'm still gonna get the freak out of the way if somebody's about to throw a boulder at me. But the thing how it works is you're not supposed to dodge on your own. When you're about to get hit while in the suppressed state, when the attack comes into contact with you, a little mini game circle appears on screen. At that exact moment, you need to press the R1 button or your right bumper to begin to fill the circle up with a yellow bar. And as soon as it finishes, as quickly as you can, that is when you need to release the button, and then you will completely dodge and absorb mechanic. That is the core of this entire game. There is no other way to successfully dodge any attack in this game. There's no other way. This is what you have to do. So that kind of isn't inherently bad. It's just kind of weird, adding another step onto something that's been so simple in so many games. What my biggest problem is that if you fail this mini game, say you do it too late, or you don't do it in time, or your just timing was generally off, you get no MP back. And like I said before, in order to attack in this game, you need to have magic meter. And because you're a wizard, that is how it works. You need to use magic. But in this game, this is the other core thing I think is dumb, is that your magic meter will actually deplete even if you're not attacking. If you are in your liberated stance, which is your attack stance, you will drain MP even if you stand there doing nothing. That is dumb to me. I think a wizard should only be using magic when they attack. It's weird because when you go between the liberate and suppress states, you can tell the character model physically changes. Like you can tell they flip the magic switch and it's on now, but that's not how they talk about it in the narrative. To me, in my head, I should only be using magic when I'm attacking. And in the game, narratively, should always be in their suppressed state. That's how they don't get caught, you know? They don't get caught because you can't tell they're wizard. Why do I lose magic when I'm not using magic? Being in my liberated state causes me to lose magic. Combining those two things is what really makes the game brutal for the sake of being brutal and different for being the sake of different. You know, that it just feels like they're going too far with it. However, there is one thing that I brought up earlier that it's time to bring up again, and that was the DLC item called Radiance I'd heard of. So yeah, it makes all evasion automatic. Again, this will not work in the attack stance. If you are liberated, you cannot use this. You will get hit by everything. It's still gonna hit you. Now, maybe it's broken, maybe there's gonna be a patch for it, but this does not work the way it says it will. It says flat out make all evasion automatic when that just doesn't work. So what happens is you might dodge the first attack or two. Say somebody launches 7 fireballs at you, you might dodge the first couple, but then you just flat out still get hit. And again, the AI in this game isn't like Final Fantasy 16 to where they wait for you to attack and they take turns. No, these dudes will just jump you, bro. They will all attack you at once. And it just does not dodge everything. It just doesn't happen. And it's like sometimes I felt like it did, but it didn't. I can still say though, you should put this on. If you are going to play this game, use the Radiance ability Wizard. It makes it so much better, despite what I just said. The one little thing that makes it completely worth it is that it takes away the mini game. meaning that as long as you switch to the suppression state when you're about to be attacked or when you're getting attacked, you will get back magic meter no matter what. There's no failing it anymore. So now it plays like a regular parry or a regular dodge in any other game. You know how every other game, as long as you dodge with the right timing, you get invincibility frames? Imagine Elden Ring had a dodge that was inconsistent. No, if I time the dodge right in Elden Ring, then I don't get hit, or it's successful. And again, this doesn't make things super easy, because despite everything, you still will, as soon as you get that MP back, it immediately starts to drain again as soon as you start to attack things. And this does not automatically make you perfect dodge either. You'll still get chump change back for each successful one you get. So you do still have to time it to get it perfect. It seemed wildly inconsistent for me. So I think literally the only thing they took away was the minigame itself and the ability to fail. You still have to time the dodge right if you want to get all of your magic back at once. So again, this feels like a regular game. They took away a big core part of what I disliked about the defensive side of this combat system. This is how you should play the game. Some people might get mad, say, oh, you're just cheating. Bro, it's in the freaking game. They sent it to free. They sent it to me. What more do you want from me? You know? I don't know, man. It's in the game, and I genuinely think that it made my experience better. Because genuinely, when I was doing some of these sessions when recording for this video, I would kind of be like, I kind of have to deal with this again. Because it's not that the game is hard. I actually find the game to be quite easy. Sometimes you just gotta have to deal with foolishness, and again, sometimes you get it feels artificial when sometimes that does feel kind of difficult. The difficult moments feel artificial because it's not really because of me. I feel like I have to be dang near perfect to even get any of my magic back. Why is my magic losing when I'm not even freaking attacking? Again, that's the biggest dislike I have for this combat system. But it is great that this is in the game, and I will play the rest of the game with that. It genuinely makes not having to do the minigame and not have to worry about failing and getting no magic back so much better. And the last good part about the combat, I will say, is that the game feels hard to get through at first when you're by yourself. But within the first couple of hours, you will get a full party for both your protagonists. And yes, there is a party system in this game. So yeah, they all have their own set of wizards they can equip, and they can all equip the Radiance wizard, which is great at the same time. Awesome. And what makes this game cool is that you have this ability to flow between characters, which adds so much to this game. Literally, say you're doing a combo, you're about to run out of magic. All you have to do is press one of the triggers and boom, your character comes out with a preemptive attack and it switches to the next character who has a full magic meter. Wonderful. And now you just keep attacking, doing your combos, and oh, you're about to run out again. You can now switch back to the last character or the third character, which is great. This game is completely designed around this. Because every other time you're not with a full party sucks. I can tell it's bad, but when you have a full party, it feels great to be bobbing and weaving between my three characters, using their skills, and then boom, pressing a trigger to try to really switch into somebody else, getting a nice attack in where they have full invincibility frames for it, which is awesome. I love that. This game feels like it was meant to be played this way with Radiance and 3 party members. Great, genuinely a good time. I think if you made it this far in the game and you didn't have Radiance and didn't have a full party, I don't know how you made it this far, but I think it genuinely makes the game so much better when you do it that way. But yeah, I just wanted to ramble about the game a bit. NIS America was kind enough to give me a copy of the game, and this was something I was actively anticipating for a while because Hiro Nojima was writing for it, Yoko Shimomura was on the music, and overall it looked like a small developer's attempt at making Versus 13 again. I think that was, enough incentive to make me want to check out the game. This is a game that, even though despite everything I said about it, as long as I have everything I told you I had equipped, like my Radiance, have my full party, honestly, the game is fun. It is genuinely fun. I don't know if it's just some other reviewers didn't make it that far, but I genuinely didn't see anybody else bring it up. Or maybe none of them just checked out the menu. I genuinely feel that makes the difference. If Radiance was not in the game, I wouldn't recommend it. I genuinely think it's such a bad part of the game because, again, the draining MP is already bad enough. it's arguably worse than the dodge mechanic. But with the dodge mechanic being the only way to make up for it, this makes me consistently make up for it every time I go to dodge, and that makes the game worth playing. I don't know, maybe I'm being too harsh. What do you guys think? The game will be out on, I believe, the 27th, so that's going to be enough for everybody to play it. I hope you guys do enjoy it, because I really love the character interactions. I love the artwork. I really love how the wizards are handled and stuff. Again, it gives me that major World Ends With You vibes. It's super cool. I'm excited to see where the story goes, though, and where the characters grow and develop and really see how things go. I'm excited for this, but thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this and you haven't already, hit the like button for your boy and leave a comment for the algorithm. You have no idea how much that really helps me out. And of course, if you'd like to be notified for more videos on the channel, all you have to do is subscribe. It's free and you can always change your mind later. If you would like early access to these videos and stuff like that, or just generally want to support the channel, your best bet is to check out the Patreon link in the description box below. It's not much, but with enough support, I can do this full time. So much love to everybody who already does so. I hope you enjoyed the early access. But to everybody else, thank you all so much for watching. My name is KingdomAce. Remember, everyone, to play some games, have some fun, and enjoy your day today.